You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Hey everybody, McGillbilly here.
Hey, and I'm Jamie.
Welcome back to One More for the Good Guys, or welcome to One More for the Good Guys. If you've been here before, if you've done anything there is to do to help us in any way, shape, form, fashion, whether supporting the music, supporting this channel, coming to the live shows, following us on all the social medias, liking the podcast, any of it, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll make friends with all you folks who are tuning in for the first time as well. Be sure to hit the click, the notification button, and the like and the share and subscribe. And all that stuff is an absolute free way to help the channel. And it actually helps the channel. So please do that. What are we smoking today, Jamie?
Ooh, we're smoking some bangers today, boy. I'm smoking the Padron 1926 number 90 in the Maduro.
And I'm smoking the 1926 number 90 in natural. Both two big cigars are big name cigars, special cigars.
If you're having cigar envy, you should be.
Yeah. These are really great. But the thing that we're here to talk about today are these. What are these strange things, Mike McGill, and what do you intend to do with them?
Yeah.
I'm not telling everything. But these are tubos. These are aluminum tubes. You guys have seen them. You know what they are. Why do we make these? Where did they come from? Who thought about them? All that good stuff. You've got them in the larger sizes too. There's one in a Romeo Julieta and a double Chateau King T by Fuentes. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The story of the aluminum cigar tube. Aluminum cigar tubes are as much part of the Havana cigar scene as labeled boxes, cedar cabinets, and humidors. This, by the way, I should have prefaced this. This was an article from 2016 at Cigar Journal, a wonderful place to find information and seek advice with any of your cigar needs, as well as just like right here at One More for the Good Guys.
Substantial magazine too.
Cigars.
I'm into aesthetics. It feels like a real magazine.
Yeah, they're actually still doing print media as well as online media as well. So, any rate, the story of the aluminum cigar tube from October of 2016, written by Simon Chase. The traditional handcrafted boxes have been around for centuries, but when did tubes first make an appearance, and who thought of the idea? Well, thanks to research Mr. Chase conducted last year in 2015, the 225-year history of the British Habanos distributor Hunters and Frankel, I can answer both of these questions. Much of the story takes place in England and involves a company called J. Frankel and Company Limited. One of the principal forebearers of Hunters and Frankel.
It's back in the old country. That's what Barney would have said. So
yeah.
back in the old country.
Gee,
across the big pond.
Across the big pond, Ange. But at any rate, principal forebearers of Hunters and Frankel. It was founded by Joseph Frankel, who immigrated here to London in 1839 from Frankfurt, in
Kentucky.
Germany.
Oh.
No. I say Germany. After Joseph's death, the company was passed on to his son Arthur, who in the late 1850s established links with another German family, the Upmans, in Havana and became the sole distributor for H. Upmann cigars in the United States, in the United Kingdom. J. Frankel prospered until Arthur's premature death in 1904 when his son Gilbert, aged just 21, took over the running of the company. Frankel was a hot-headed young man. Gilbert Frankel was a hot-headed young man who rose to prominence not in the cigar business, but as an author of popular novels. After he had almost ruined the company, Gilbert, that's who we're speaking about.
Poor Gilbert. He could write, but boy,
he
could not run a business.
He was an asshole. His family decided that it should be sold, and in 1916, J. Frankel passed into the hands of a rival Havana importer called Braden A. Stark. Dun, dun, dun. Otto Braden and James Stark were partners, in particular, German by birth, and felt that the H. Upmann brand would be very valuable in the long term. However, he did not anticipate that the bank, which the Upmann family had always run alongside its cigar factory, would go bust in 1922 and threatened to bring down the factory as well. Frankel's board members for 4th September 1922, Mr. O'Braden should proceed to Havana in order to assist there in the settlement of the affairs of the H. Upmann factory, which has become involved in the failure of the banking house of H. Upmann and Company. Otto was authorized to spend a sum of £10,000 toward the purchase of the factory in order to secure the continuation of the sole agency of the brand to his company. It took 2 further visits to Havana before finally in May of 1925, Otto brought the brand and the factory and set up a Cuban company called Compañía Francal de Pacos S.A. to manage it. With Otto as president, Compañía Francal de Tabacos restored in the future fortunes of H. Upmann. After Otto's death in 1930, his place was taken by his 40-year-old son, Waldo. All right.
Nice.
Yes. So, thoughts up to now. Hey, Gilbert.
That son of a bitch at?
Gilbert, what the hell, man?
Where's Gilbert didn't work. So they had a Waldo.
Where's Gilbert Grape?
What's eating Gilbert Grape?
That's right. Where's Waldo?
His
What's
mom.
eating?
That's who's eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, though.
Great movie.
Yeah. Man, Johnny Depp and
DiCaprio.
I mean, he's a good actor.
Oh, he's a great actor. I'm just being silly. So before we finish that, we'll just take a little sideline here. But in a lot of the tubes are often lined in cedar. A lot of folks don't realize that. These Padron tubes are not lined in cedar. They are just a aluminum tube. Now, I guess you can use your imagination as why the tubos, if you were going to go somewhere and you were just going to have one cigar, or maybe you're going to present as a gift to someone or something like that, then, that's a little big shot to it. It's a case too. It's pretty. Yeah. And I think it not only does it make you, it makes you a little posh, maybe, as Mr. Frankel would have said. But it also is if I had this and I was giving it to Jamie as a gift, it'd be very personalized that way. I feel like it's almost like it's wrapped. Yes. Agree. It's a presentation. It's a present more so than just another stick somebody gives you. Not saying that's a bad thing, and everybody do what you got to do. Especially when you guys give me sticks, I don't need any more sticks unless there's something that I haven't tried before and you want me to order it. But I just see that being that way,
Yeah.
It's there's elegance to it, I guess, in a way. Now those tubes that do have cedar line, such as the Fuente
and the Romeo,
this was a King T. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Chateau Fuente King T in Churchill. But this has from like right here down has the cedar inside attached to the inside of the tube.
Removable, but yeah.
Yeah. But it can also help with moisture control, aging, aroma. Yeah.
Aroma.
So it serves it's multifunctional, I guess. It serves purposes to have them. But it's also, like if I know I'm going somewhere and I'm only going to, there's just a chance that I might only have one cigar if it was a wedding or something. These are Father's Day, weddings, things like that. These are great gifts to Christmas, birthdays. They're great gifts to give someone for the protection as well as the functionality of the tube. And they're just cool.
And if you get one in one of these tubes, it's probably a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but most of the time. If you get a tube that says Padron on it or Fuente on it,
yeah,
banger.
And that Romeo is that one's actually a Habanos, so that's actually a Cuban variety.
Habana.
Yeah. But yeah, Perdomo makes a great in the champagne. They have it in a tube, which is a knockout. It really looks great.
The champagne in the tube. Mm-hmm. What color's the tube?
What color do you think?
Same as like that orange color that the wrapper is. That's nice.
Yeah, and the metallic, it's just really pretty. Boy, you're going to have to get up awful early in the morning to beat Perdomo's
presentation. Yeah, you're not going to.
It's slick.
Top to bottom, man. Shit.
It's slick.
It is slick. And what's crazy on the flip side of that, I would say that Padron, as far as presentation, is the most understated. This is kind of out of the, granted, these labels on these 26s are nice, but
But the box these came in, they're just a plain
wooden box,
cedar, Spanish cedar box. But one of the cool things that Padron does too is they encourage people mailing boxes back to them because they reuse their boxes, which oftentimes boxes, hinges, artwork, bands, labels, all that shit. That's usually what keeps the cigar company from shipping is problems in those areas, not the tobacco. They got the tobacco. They know what to do with that.
Tobacco's homegrown.
Yeah.
These hinges are made in China.
Yeah, no shit. Which, in the coming future, we're going to talk more. We covered it the last episode, but we'll talk more about some of those things and how those the economy will affect us as a consumer and as a retailer. That's important stuff to know if you really love this stuff and you're doing it for a living and or enjoying your living while doing it, then I think people want to know. So drop that down in the comments if you think so as well. Okay, getting back to old Waldo. In 1932, Waldo decided that the Havana cigar trade needed a way to distribute and sell its cigars more widely, which guaranteed their condition and protected them against damage. He found that a process called impact extrusion, which using aluminum could produce a container suitable for cigars at an affordable price. Unfortunately, his catalogs did not believe that traditional Havana smokers would tolerate buying a cigar isolated in a tube. Undaunted, Waldo set about designing and patenting a seal for his aluminum tube called the Solo Steel. He covered all the cost of its development himself. And in September of 1933, he took his idea back to the board, which grudgingly permitted him to conduct a test using H. Upmann cigars. They were launched in December of that year, with the results were astounding. And by May 1934, the board accepted Waldo's offer of the right to use his tubes exclusively for H. Upmann for 5 years. So Waldo hit a dinger.
Pretty smart, too. I mean, you think about the practicality of something like this now, when you can get a container of any shape, size you want on Temu or Amazon. But back then, I mean, what kind of uses would you get out of this after the fact? A lot, 1933, plus the box and everything. I mean, it had to be.
Well, and you don't always go ahead.
I'm just saying that, an aluminum container like that probably was hard to come by in those days, as far as, because you can, and we do use these for other things. So, and plus the presentation alone, I bet when that came out, they were like, holy shit, here is,
There is a design of it on the. We'll see if we can't pull this off and maybe put it on the.
Boy, wouldn't it be great to get a hold of one of them on eBay?
Oh, my word.
Original. I bet that's.
Yeah, there ain't no telling. Says the novel and attractive featherweight metal tube Solo Seal individually protects each cigar. And this is a graph illustrating the 12-month sale of H. Upmann cigars. So obviously they got gooder and gooder, as the old hillbilly said. So they gave him a down payment of £200 and a royalty of half penny per tube.
Which in the end was.
Yeah. A year later, Frankow published an advertisement in Tobacco Magazine that showed a graph of month-by-month Solo Seal sales. Say that 3 times fast. Holy, who blew the seal? What? They were headed for the stars. With such a coup under his belt, you would imagine that Waldo Braden was set for a glorious career in the cigar trade. It was not to be. Dun, dun, dun. James Stark, Jay Franco's chairman, was in poor health, and once again it was decided that the company should be sold. This time to a highly experienced cigar man named D.G. Freeman of J.R. Freeman and Sons. And in July 1935, the motion to sell J. Frankow included Compañía Frankow de Tabacos was put to the board. Everyone voted in favor except one, Waldo. During a quick fire series of board meetings, Waldo tried every trick he could think of to frustrate the deal, including stealing the keys to the company safe. Finally, after he admitted that he had charged an extra unauthorized margin of his Solo Seals, D.G. Freeman fired him. And despite Waldo's demise, his invention has grown from strength to strength. Last year in the UK, just over 40% of all the Havana cigars were sold in tubes.
Wow.
Yeah, so next time you slip a Havana cigar out of its aluminum tube, I suggest you spare a thought for the undoubted, if not maverick, talents of Waldo Braden. So there you go.
I couldn't find anything.
The solo seal.
I couldn't find anything on eBay, but I'm going to look up solo seal and see how we do.
Well, I guess, is this still one of them? Because they said every time you do a Havana, I mean, they all have to work in theory the same way.
Yeah.
But maybe, excuse me, maybe we can, maybe, oh, look at there. Holy hell in a handbasket, Batman. We got it. So we can use that. Yeah, okay. Well, very cool. Waldo. Way to go. That's good, Waldo.
Good.
And if my buddy Waldo's watching, he'll know exactly what that means. That's real good, Waldo. Anywho. Yeah, so 1935 or 19, yeah. After it. No, that's when he passed. 33.
Yeah. So going on 100 years of that, of aluminum tubes, as my grandmother would say it. There's the aluminum plant.
Aluminum?
Aluminum.
Well, as our British friends would call it, aluminium.
Aluminium. Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what. If you haven't had a Padron 1926 number 90 in the Maduro, get you on.
Baby.
All you OG members out there.
And be a good box.
Be a good box if we could get them. I don't know how hard they are to get, but I tell you, $25 a stick retail. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'd pay $25 for one of these. This is absolutely the pinnacle for me of cigar, as far as top to bottom. Flavor, construction.
He likes that shit.
I've never had a Padron that was bad, but I tell you what, I don't know that I've ever had any that are better than these. We smoked one of these a couple of years ago in Rugby.
It's same one. Same batches.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
I think it was.
Yeah, it is.
One of us had a Maduro, one of us had a natural.
I think just what we did here.
Yeah, but I tell you, man, good night, Lordy. There's other great cigars out there that are comparable, but boy, you can't. If somebody says, hey, what would you like for Christmas? Tell them one of these.
Yeah.
Or a box even. They come in a box of 10.
Yeah, or grab a couple of tubes.
And, yeah, boy, shoot, fire. How's that one? I'm sure it's just as good.
It's great. I really prefer the natural. I like the Maduro, but I think I like this better. Mm-hmm. It's got that, it's not got as much, but you know how that 7,000 series, those few that I've got left that's got so much age on them, how raisiny, figgy, sweet they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this has got, but it's got the pep also behind it where that one's mellowed out. This has got the pep in behind it. To me, a lot of hay, some grass, just, but now we're starting to get into that sweet part with that raisin.
This has that, but it's darker. It's more like plum. And it's, I tell you, a lot of cigars you'll smoke and you'll be like, oh, it's got this flavor, but there'll be an aftertaste that's a little acidic, or it'll be really a little bit of that musky,
the funk.
Yeah, this has none of that. There is not a bad flavor in any of this. This is absolutely... Yeah. I don't know what the hell they do with their blends on the inside, but because they never disclose it. Nicaraguan, that's pretty much it. And man, golly.
And sometimes I wonder if it's all Nicaraguan, like especially on the Maduro stuff, because it looks so San Andres to me.
Oh yeah, it does.
You know,
yeah.
But
I mean, even maybe Connecticut broadleaf, but I'd say it's not. I'd say it's
definitely not that.
I'd say it's what you said, some tough,
but
wrapper.
They are. You know, I smoked one of those the other night, the Maduro. I think it was when I think I smoked it after we got done with the podcast with Chuck. He wanted to smoke one of the EPC, one of the Allegiance, and absolutely lost his mind over that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he really liked them. But I smoked a Maduro, and I'm telling you right now, man, I pulled that thing out of that tube, and Jamie, it looked like the one of the Crip keeper, one of his fingers. Yeah. Thanks for the ride, lady. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It looked like one of his fingers, man. It was gnarled and wiggly and like had a hook on it, you know? I mean, it was weird looking.
And you smoked this shit.
Oh, absolutely. I told Chuck, I was like, holy shit, this is like a damn skeleton finger or something.
It's like that Devil's Hands stuff that, was it Warped?
Warped, yeah.
Reminds me of that. Crip Keeper.
Yeah, this thing was, I mean, it was all knotty and bumpy and had a curve to it. Easy.
We're talking about cigars.
Yeah.
You know, of course, it doesn't say it's Nicaraguan puros like everything else they make, but I tell you, man, it's just, is this the best brand top to bottom? If you said, okay, we need to do a show about this, right? There's a lot of brands that I would put in the top tier brands. Is this the top of the top tier brands? I mean,
I don't know, man. I mean, they're certainly, they're in the conversation for sure.
But I mean, you know, Fuente's up there in that conversation. You got to figure that Ashton and Perdomo for sure. I was going there too, but I mean,
I think the only, you know, I haven't had enough of the Ashton products, you know, the stuff that's with their own label on it, you know. Probably the one I've had more than any out of any of those. I tried one of the Connecticut's and it was way too cedary. It was so much cedar. It just was no good. I tried the Maduro and it was fine, but it didn't blow my tits off.
It didn't blow my tits off either. It was good.
You know, it was just like, it
wasn't this good.
Right.
Same price too, but the Eastern Maduro's about $15-16.
Yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah. I mean, I would 10 times rather have a Montosa
or an Undercrown 10.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You could get 3 Montosas.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 3 Montosas for sure.
Yeah, but
we need to do a show on our tiers, our top these. And
now, like the VSG, obviously, we're big fans of it and the ESG, but man, you start getting into like needing a cosigner.
Yeah, they're up in this price range. But I mean, you know, you said the other day on the show, Davidoff is the luxury brand as far as, you know, but realistically, a luxury brand aside, top to bottom, I wouldn't give Padron for Davidoff any day. No way in hell.
Yeah.
Cigar for cigar. I think that certainly for.
Well, we just never, I mean, yeah. It's, you know, that's a hard one because it's a completely different cigar too than just about like where all of theirs are medium to definitely full and more so on the medium, you know, on the full side of that. Their whole product line versus Davidoff is kind of the opposite. You know, their whole product line is more mild to medium, actual medium full.
Dominican too.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it. I mean, they're still used. I mean, they're definitely made in the Dominican, but I mean, they're, you know, I don't know anybody other than like Perdomo that would use, and maybe Davidoff too. But I mean, I guess it would be Davidoff just because it's their tobacco and they have it all over.
Right.
And Perdomo and like Padron because they are 100%, well, certainly Perdomo, but integrated company. So they own their own farm, they own their own factory, they own their own box, they do it all. I don't know. I mean, with the way they're priced, everybody wants to put Plasencia in that argument as well, which by price, yeah, but I've only had a handful of the Plasencia stuff that really just knocked my socks off, I mean, maybe a couple. And one of them they don't even make anymore. I like the Cosecha 149, and they stopped making it, or 148 maybe. It was the one with the white and the gray silverish wrapper, but that was a wonderful cigar, man. Orange zest and citrus sweetness and power, went great with a Manhattan. I mean, it really just, both of those they're very similar in taste profiles. What you get out of like a Manhattan and what you got out of that cigar. But other than that, I mean, like I say, they don't make it anymore. I've always been a little scared off of Plasencia just because of, like, not because of the price, but because probably I don't know enough, like any of the Padron stuff. I know chances are, that risk to reward ratio of buying a box is going to be way higher because I'm much more familiar versus even Davidoff or whatever, some bitches we just talked about, Plasencia or even Fuente.
I think Fuente's line so big that some of their stuff I'm not. And the Plasencia stuff too. I liked that Alma Fuerte Sixto and it's great smoke, but it's a weird.
That's the one with the green.
Yeah, I think it's got the 6 sides. It's a hexagon.
Well, I think they do that. Don't they do that also in that black label one too?
I think so. I'm like you. I don't know enough about them to be like, oh yeah, whatever. But you just said it. The risk versus reward of buying a box of these it's like, okay, well, I know that they're going to be great. I don't have to go test one of them. I know. Same thing with Perdomo.
Well, their product line just offers so much consistency all the way across the board, from natural to Maduro, from the 1000 series to the family reserve shit to the 40 year, 50 year, all that stuff. But I do think there's a little biasy there as well, just because we're just so much more familiar.
We are. And that's a good point.
Fuente's very confusing with the bands and the colors. And
that's the one thing I don't like about it. It's like, what am I buying here?
I mean, a lot of times when I'm buying something like that, unless I've got a little blurb about it,
where I can match them up.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about them.
We had a customer that wants to order one of the Fuente, the Hemingway series.
Yeah.
And it's all over the map.
Yeah.
And you can't get anybody to definitively tell you, yeah, this is it. So I have that problem with them. We'll do another show on that. But Padron's certainly in the conversation.
I would think they've got to be, and honestly, they're much more affordable than any of these lines we've talked about. But Perdomo, he don't take a second place to nobody and nothing.
Well, that 12-year,
in my opinion,
that 12-year double aged Maduro that came out last year. That's the best. That's probably the best cigar for the money there is. Right,
it's my favorite stick right now. It's for certain.
not to be a copier, but it's right up there with me. I mean, well, we just bought a box for ourselves. So, I mean, they're
really, really good.
And they're gorgeous. I mean, God, that dude's, I don't know who's doing the aesthetic side of that bunch, but man.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a fantastic cigar.
Yes, absolutely.
As
well as the Fuentes and the Romeos.
All of them. I mean, there ain't a cigar we don't like. I'm just saying that across the board, it's
We've smoked all the bad ones, so you don't have to.
That's right. We don't talk about bad cigars.
Yeah, we don't even bring them up. Don't even bring them up.
We only do good reviews. That's why do bad ones? There's plenty of that. If we don't do one on a cigar, then okay. That might tell you something, really.
No, absolutely.
This is just candy, boy. This thing is God mighty.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been around a long time. Family's one of the originals. Great product. They've always been consistently good. Construction's always been good. It's like, do you go out and buy if the sirloin's the best steak the place has, or they do it better than anything else, and it doesn't matter if there's prime rib or,
ribeyes, whatever.
Ribeyes, strip, whatever, I'm going to get the sirloin.
Yeah, because that's what they do well.
That's the best, yeah. And that's what I want each time. And so you'll get some brand loyalty. And a lot of times Padron smokers are Padron smokers. Yeah. You're not going to flip them or change them into doing anything any different. No, they're going to try some things, but they're going to order what they want.
I mean, but it'd be hard to flip them. Yeah. It'd be a parallel move, sideways move, because it's not going to be,
I'll tell you another one that's great too is in the Perdomo line. I had one a few months back, was the 12-year double age Connecticut. It's really, really enjoyable as well. And they've got we're not nowhere near big enough, but if you're out and about, or if you want to get them, you can get them up at Two Guys. They actually launched the brand Legacy, which is a brand new blend that they've got out that the son made in honor of his dad.
I saw that.
And they, of course, rolled it out, Connecticut, sun-grown, and Maduro, just like they do everything else.
That's something else I like.
I do, too. It's very easy.
I know what we're going to get.
Yeah.
I know what to expect.
Yeah, that'd be a great show just to showcase some of the, we did the history on Villager. We should dig up a show and do the history, just a brief reading about all the history with some of these other legacy brands like Perdomo and Fuente and
maybe do
Padron,
a top 5 for that brand for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, these are our top 5 Fuente cigars for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can almost do that. I know what's number 1 for my Fuente is that damn Don Carlos. A lot of people are going to be, what about the Opus X? Well, you know what? Let's
Man, Fuente
stay
makes
on the ground here.
Yeah, Fuente makes some exceptional cigars, but in my opinion, the Don Carlos, preferably in a 2 or in a Robusto size, and I gotta say, the little short story, man, that's a great freaking little cigar. I mean, it is what it is, but it's gingerbread men and spice and everything's nice, I mean, that's got to be up there as one of my favorites. And unfortunately, the other sizes, like the Work of Art or the Master Story or something like, I can't remember all of them, but they have different sizes in it, and they're just not as good.
Well, we find that a lot.
That little one, is just the best one. But I'd say those and man, just because, and we've got Opus X and Sharks and, this one and that one, like that King T. It was good, but it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh my gosh, but probably just an 858, man, in Cameroon. I mean, that's a wonderful stick. It's a great size. It's 35 minutes, 40-minute smoke. I mean, it's a perfect size.
They're the best Cameroon maker there is.
Yeah.
That Don Carlos is the best Cameroon cigar there is.
Yeah. And so
to me.
Now, that's 3 very affordable blends they got. And then we've had, like I said, we've had the others. And this one was really good, but it was just good, Wasn't,
well, that's the thing about
it's a good cigar.
Is that
I enjoyed smoking it. I had a great experience with it, but I had a good experience with it.
Well, one of my problems with the Fuente, besides being the confusing bands or whatever, is that a lot of their stuff is priced a little higher. So my experience level with it's not as much. Yeah. Because, if I'm going to smoke one cigar a week, okay, and then $25, you might justify it. But 20? Yeah. That's a $500 week habit. I mean, my God, you can't. No, can't do that. And
I can't justify it either.
No.
I mean, I don't know if I had the money to do it, that I wouldn't still be.
Well, we like variety too much too. I could lock myself into one brand. There's no way in hell. But
we have to.
Yeah, but even if we weren't in the business, we still, I wouldn't lock myself in one brand. I like all ice cream. You understand? I like all cigars.
Well, that's the, it's the fun of trading ball cards, right?
Yep.
That's the individuality and the different selections and the different flavors, different experiences.
But I guess coming up with 5 for me, I'd have to look some stuff up because I can't recall them well enough on the Fuente brand. Padron, I could do the 5. Top 5, that is. My fodder, that'd be easy to do. Perdomo would be easy to do. It'd be harder for me to do Fuente because my experience with that brand is less than the others by a lot.
I could put those 3 in order. It'd be Don Carlos, Short Story, and an 858. That'd be my top
3.
That'd be my top 3 that I have experience with, like you say. Yeah.
And I would probably just
those are pretty damn good.
Yeah,
but they're not.
They're not their highest price stuff unless you get the Shark.
This is broadleaf over Dominican, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really good. But the cigar that kicks its ass is that Big Sky Blackfoot.
Oh,
that's broadleaf over Dominican, and it's a handful. It's all you want and then some. You'd think this has got to be Nicaragua smoking that cigar.
Yeah.
That Dominican or Bigfoot. But it was a good cigar. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was a very traditional Churchill top size, which I really like. And I find myself I don't know. I just like the journey a Churchill takes you because it's going to cover some time.
Correct.
And especially when you've got the time, that's when you smoke these. Don't light one of these if you don't have the time in that size. But yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I don't know that I've ever had a Padron in a Churchill size.
What do they call it? Is it a Diplomatico?
I think so, something like that. I think that's Diplomatico. Right. I can't remember if I had, but
I've had one, and it was on my 51st birthday. Sarah Hembry, if you're out there, in the immortal words of Ernest Tubb, you always say something nice to Sarah every day. Name my rules. That shit's in the book.
Yeah, we need to do a show on that. That would be good. As far as the tubos go, they do make good containers for other shit.
They do. If you find another cigar that will also fit into them, you can bring them out.
Or if you're into smoking other things,
yes, you can.
Nice container. Not us, but if you are.
No, I didn't sneeze. No. My sinuses and my conscience got clear all of a sudden. But yeah, so that's how the tubes came to be. If you've got any thoughts or comments on that, you can put them below. You can also, if you've got any thoughts or comments on like what we were talking about as far as an upcoming or future episode of brands and, you know, your favorites. Maybe you got a top 3 or a top 5 or a top 2. Maybe you only like one of them, and then they can all go to hell as far as you're concerned. And maybe it too.
Don't need a top 5, you need a top 1.
What I'm trying to say is please talk to us, for God's sakes. Yeah. Look who I get. I got to talk this every day.
Yeah.
I mean, put your hand to my hand and talk to us. Come see us whenever you can. We're one more for the good guys.
Good Guys Cigars.
And Good Guys Cigars, yes. Dot, you know how to do all that.
The only one in the entire world.
Correct.
So.
And be kind. You want to do another one?
Sure.
Okay. We got to get that out of the way first.
Do we get to smoke one of these on every episode?
Sure.
A lot of episodes.
Yeah, you're fine. And be kind, folks. Be kind to one another right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on all over the world, not just here in the States, but all over the world. And at the end of the day, we're all 100% guilty as charged human. So be kind to one another and spread some good news out there for folks. It doesn't cost a dime to be kind, but there's always a price to be paid for cruelty. So.
And remember, life is too short to smoke bad cigars.
And that's one more for the good guys.
I'll be gone in the morning before the sun comes up, with me and my weenie dog and my pickup truck. And either way, baby, a good man, it's hard to find. I said, now either way, baby, a good man is hard to find.